Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertanton.com, and let me tell you, I am hot right now, and it ain't because of the sweater. Oh man, there was some drama at the end of the show. There was drama all along the show, let me tell you, but I'll tell you what, if you haven't been here before, I'm Robert Anton, robertanton.com, and I am doing right now X Factor commentary. We just had the judges' houses, and this is the final 16 revealed, right? So, what had happened was, so much happened. They were giving the results, cutting 32 down to 16. So each judge had 8 acts, and they had to cut it down to 4, right? So I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna start rolling it on down. Before I do that, I'm gonna say that the next show, the live performance, is at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. 8 p.m. next Tuesday, so stop by and check it out. First up, to find out if they were going through or not, Tiah and Simone, they had a whole recap of each of them talking about, you know, like their experience so far and what, you know, telling their whole story again. And this could have been an hour show if they didn't go through all of that, if they just brought the people up, kind of did just a little bit of, you know, them talking and then gave them their results. But they wanted to make it a 2-hour show, so they had to be drawn out and all that good stuff. So Tiah and Simone came up, they had the full recap, they each came to face Simon separately, but they were cutting back and forth between each one, so you didn't know who he was really talking to sometimes. Tiah didn't make it, Simone did. He started calling her Simone, and when he started giving her like a little nickname, I thought immediately she's probably gonna make it. Next up, Drew came up by herself, and she made it through. Of course, they did the recap. I'm not gonna say every time because we're gonna move this along. This should be like a third of the time the other videos are for the performances. So next, Josh came up and he faced Nicole, and he made it through. Krista, Dexter, and James came up next. Did the full recaps and all that good stuff. Krista was a no, James was a no, and Dexter made it through, and he jumped in the pool. And it was funny because somebody on Twitter was like, that's the first time he had a bath in years. Terrible, you people are really bad. But it was funny. Okay, I'm sorry, it made me laugh. Next up, 2 Squared, Illusion Confusion, and the Brewer Boys faced Paula. And we know now that one is gonna make it and the other 2 are not. So 2 Squared did not make it, and the Brewer Boys made it. But Illusion Confusion did not make it. For sure faced Paula, and they got a no also. It was really taxing by this time because there were some choices that I didn't think were as good as others, and some that I was just like, okay, kind of scratching my head, but they were all very good, so it's hard to really decide. And each judge has their reason why they're doing everything, you know, so I'm gonna keep going with first, Brian came up to face LA by himself. Now, this little boy, I'm sorry, I wrote he was so composed and confident. Even though he was under pressure, the whole time he was just kind of smiling, kind of chilling, you know, it's kind of like he was paying attention and he was listening, but he was unconcerned. He was like, I got this, you know, pretty much. And of course he went through and he made a little joke and everything. Just one of the most confident performers of the whole like group, really, really, and just seemingly people to be so young, just very, very confident. Next, Nick, Phillip, Skylar, and Brennan, all 4, oh my God, came up and they faced LA. And Nick was a no, Skylar was a no, Brennan was a no, Phillip went through. I was like, seriously, I wish I would have been taping this because I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He passed up Brennan for Phillip. I was speechless. That I think was, I hate to say it, but I think that was the wrong choice and the only wrong choice that LA made. Okay, I said it, okay? That's my opinion. If you don't like it, put your opinion down in the comments. Next up, Jaslyn came and she got a no. I was kind of surprised about that, but she just doesn't have the confidence. She has the performance skill. She turns on the minute she hits, the song starts, and she becomes that character, but she just really doesn't have the confidence leading in. So I can kind of understand that. Next up, Tiger and Leroy came in, recaps, not understanding other, and Tiger was a no, and Leroy Bell was a yes. Then Chris came up, and of course, Rene we all knew was a yes. He tried to lead him around a little bit, but another one that's pretty confident, he was just kind of like, yeah, you know, but he knew he went through, so he went through. Intensity and Lakoda Rayne, both of the formed groups, you know, that didn't come in as a group. And I'd say, I've been writing in the comments, I'm gonna tell you guys, both these groups are probably going to go through. And we thought because, you know, some people probably thought because the 2 of them went up kind of against each other that they, you know, one was going through and one wasn't. Not true. Both of them went through. And I just had a feeling about that. You know, they formed the group. There's going to be more allegiance to X Factor because of that. So, you know, naturally they went through. Tiah and Caitlyn. And again, you know, you expect one is going home and one is going to stay. So Caitlyn was a no. And Tiah was a yes. Another but we all are prepared for this because Simon has been fighting for her and he has a point to prove. Okay, there's no doubt about it. I wrote it on Twitter. He now has a point to prove because he fought for her so hard with the girls in her first audition. So she was going through no matter what. No matter who else did not go through, she was going through. For me, Caitlyn said something interesting. She said, you know, if I don't make it, then it's probably back to a bar singing to nobody. And I just don't see that. After you've been on a national show, you now have made, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe millions of fans. If you keep on your grind and you start making music, then you will have a career, even if it's as an independent artist or if you get on an independent label and get signed. I believe that, you know, people like this will move forward. So I don't take that. You know, all of them are giving this sob story. If I don't make it now, I'll never make it. And now you have millions of people that have seen you, that know your name. I believe that most of these people are going to go on and do more things if they decide to, if they have the drive and the ambition and continue to stay focused, that they will continue to, you know, progress and have some type of career. Next up, Marcus and Tim came up, and this was the last ones for L.A. Reid. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know who was going to go through. I had a feeling Marcus was going through, and yes, he went through. Tim was sent home, but that was still a hard choice, I believe, the way they're setting them up, putting them together. The last choice for Paula were the Stereo Hogzz and The Answer. And again, another hard choice, but we have not seen that much of an answer, so I kind of have a feeling, again, the Stereo Hogzz were going through. And yes, they went through, and The Answer was a no. And they were a little upset, you know, they were put out about that for sure. And the Stereo Hogzz, and I said this earlier, Dexter jumped in the pool. The Stereo Hogzz jumped in the fountain. Now, I think it's not even a pool. It was like a fountain out front of the house. And Paula had said to them, she was trying to lead them astray, you know, and she was saying that Trey, the guy who's basically the lead, had such a stellar voice and the other guys really needed to work on their vocals. But as a group, there's generally one stand out. And yes, the other ones do try to come up and they do their best, but there's always generally a standout. And look at all the groups where, you know, so many of them, they've been together for so long and then one comes out as a solo artist. It happens. We've seen it. It's going to happen again. You saw Dreamgirls too. You know what? It's happened consistently. So this may be one of those things where they do their thing and then eventually he comes out as a solo artist. Last up for Nicole to make a choice were Elaine and Stacy, and this one hurt my heart. I mean, it just really did, because I was hoping both of them were going to go through. You know, both of them were amazing, stellar talents, but who got the most press? Who got the most interest? Who's got the biggest story? Stacy went through. Elaine got a no, and she had just a wonderful spirit about it. You know, she was very composed, and she was even smiling and stuff. And she, you know, when she went out to do her little interview, she was smiling, and she was like, and she felt to me like, you know, this is where I am. I've done this. I've tried my best, and I'm going to continue on for here. Very strong woman, and I hope that she's going to get a lot more work out of this. And for Simon, his last choice was Rachel Crow and Melanie Amaro. I thought that Stacy and Elaine hurt my heart. This had me on the brink of tears. I was like, there is no way in the world he is going to send one of them home. And as he was talking, I was thinking, now who has had the biggest story? Who has had the, you know, and Rachel had the biggest story. And they've been sending the one home that didn't have all the storyline and stuff like that. If you have not seen the show and you are still watching this commentary, he sent Melanie home and Rachel went through. I'm so happy for Rachel, but Melanie was like the most amazing. Okay. So the next show is Tuesday at 8 p.m. And of course they had like a little cliffhanger at the end. And Simon said, I made a big mistake. You know, I talked to the other judges and I have to go and get this other person back. And he went back and he got Melanie Amaro back. Yay, yay, okay, good. But my problem is, and the reason why I said in the beginning of this video that I am hot, because we know that things do not work out the way they're supposed to work out. We know that there is no justice in this world. We know that some people get over on everybody else. You know, they get that extra edge. And it is happening right here in front of our faces on reality TV. Simon did not make the really hard choice. And so he gets to keep 5 contestants. We are at the top 17. Okay? And it's great that Melanie and Rachel get to stay, but it's not great for me that Simon did not have to make the hard choice and choose just 4 contestants like everybody else. That is unfair. And I know life is not fair. I am not even going to go there. I know life. I know the music business. I know that anything is not really fair. But to go on national television and say we're going to go to the top 16 and Simon gets a pass because he made a mistake. And I'll tell you the real mistake that he made. He made the mistake that he has to now prove a point with one person, and he put out a wonderful vocalist because he wants to try to prove a point with this person. If you agree with me, please write down in the comments and tell me. If you disagree with me, write down in the comments and tell me. But that is a problem. That is a big problem with me. You got to prove your point, so you're going to, mess up this girl's life. I mean, she's a wonderful vocalist. She knows she's going to get something out of it, eventually. But sent this girl home and just broke her heart, knowing she is just an amazing vocalist, because you need to prove a point. That is so wrong, Simon. That is so wrong, X Factor. And I'm telling you, I'm loving the drama already. I'm sorry. I'm hooked. It is big drama, but I have to do my commentary the way I do it. And this is what I believe. It's wrong. It's unfair. And Simon should have had to make the hard choice. And if that meant Melanie went home because he wants to prove a point, then she should have gone home. I'm sorry. That's just what I believe. But life isn't fair, and we know it. And the business isn't fair, and we know it. And Melanie gets to stay, and I'm happy about that. I am happy, so happy that she is going to go on to the live shows. The live shows are coming up. I have posted a list of who is going to be in the live shows in the description box. If you did not see the show, comment. Let me know what you thought about this issue, because I was just outdone by the whole situation at the end. What did you think of the choices? Would you have made different choices? This is Robert Anton, robertanton.com. I am out. Peace.